Howdy ho, everybody. So, who doesn't love a rack of lamb? Maybe Carmel doesn't, but that's okay. We'll get something. We'll cook some stuff for Carmel again this trip as well. I'm just going to sharpen my knives because I forgot to do that. So, like I said in the chat, I'm going to cook you a rack of lamb. We are also going to do just a few roast veggies, so sweet potato and pumpkin. Then I'm going to make a nice Greek salad, and then I'm going to teach you how to make like a really nice, easy ice cream that is pretty much guilt-free too. And I make this on some of my retreats. So if those of you that were on my retreat in Mullaney, I think it was no, it wasn't Mullaney. It was at Palm Cove or whatever one of them beaches up there was. I cooked this ice cream then, and people just kept coming back for more. And if you've got, you probably need a therming mix. You might. I'm not quite sure how good food processors are these days. I haven't used one for years since. I'll tell you something. I don't know if I already told you this, but I bought a Thermomix because on MasterChef, they cooked this lolly bag cake. And it was 7 layers, and every layer was a lolly bag, like a bag of lollies, like spearmint and musk and freckles and all of this. And they needed a Thermomix to make it, so that was the only reason I bought one. Then I fell in love with it. Interesting, hey? Now, what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, I've got these beautiful racks of lamb, but because I don't want to keep changing cutting boards, I'm just going to do my roast veg ready first. So I just cut a bit of a pumpkin. Now, this is probably enough for 4 people tonight, or even more. No, 4 probably. It is my date night. Now, I've had a bit of a busy week. I've got one of my team members is off sick this week, so I'm juggling between the two. So that's why you didn't get a cooking lesson this morning. So instead of being able to go out and buy this for tonight's dinner, this might be your tomorrow's dinner. So I am apologetic about that. So if we just get these ready. Now, I think I told you I have a compost bin out the back, and so I always just have a bucket on the bench, which I've moved off the bench so I can fit yous all up here. Now, Craig will be home at 6, then we walk the dog, so I'm expecting to come home straight away after that and be able to eat dinner, because I really like to have dinner before 7. This week's been a little bit higgledy-piggledy, so that hasn't been happening. Anyway, it is what it is. So we're just going to cut this up in, we want it to cook in at the same time that the rack of lamb would cook. Okay, so the rack of lamb is going to maybe take 10 or so minutes in the oven, 10 or 15 minutes in the oven. So we want to put these in first, and then, how am I going to do this? We'll do it this way. And then we'll brown off and render the fat of the lamb a bit. So then by the time we put the lamb in, these are going to be halfway cooked. So I have my oven on 190 with a fan, because, like I told you before, if you brown off veggies a bit, that's the sugars going brown. And if you don't have sugar in your diet that much, and maybe you were brought up on a lot of sugar like I was, you look for it. So having it in your veggies is not a bad thing. So we're just gonna oil these and salt and pepper these. Put them in a tray, chuck them in the oven so that they start to get a bit of a cook on. Somebody stole my salt and pepper off the bench. It's over there on the table. So I'll just a tray pretty ready here. So I just scrunch the paper up like that, and like scrunch it up smaller, lay it out like that. It's easier to work with. And then we'll just chuck these on, and I'll pop them in the oven. Then we'll start the rack of lamb. Now I'm having a few renovations in the house at the moment, so I had my electrician here last week, and I said to them, "Can we move that fire alarm up there, please, because it interferes with my cooking show?" And they're like, "Yeah, Polly," so they've moved it. So we're not going to be worrying about that, and I don't have to have the air conditioner blasting me. So I've got, if you get to see all the salady stuff maybe there, I've got my cooker going on, like my little cooker with my fry pan over here, which I will move. I'll just get that heating up. So, and you know, I bought some more camera equipment, which is going to be fun. So that'll get even better for you. Might have to get a film crew soon. So let's get down here to business. We've got this rack of lamb, which they've already scored it for me. Don't take the fat off. Fat is flavour, and it's actually protection too. You don't have to eat it in the end, but always leave it on. Now it's up to you. You can fry these off in one like this, but we're a bit time poor tonight, so we are going to cut them in half. Now you could cut them into like twos or stuff like that. The only problem is you want to render the fat off, and you want to brown all the edges. More edges, more time you're going to take standing there. So I'm just going to cut these in half. So like that. Now, like my butcher's already sort of pretty much Frenched them for us. Then we are going to, and we're actually going to make a little jus for this, and it's going to be a honey and rosemary one. This will be a summer meal too, for those of you that know the Wild Fit seasons. This would be a summer meal that I'm making. So just season stuff, hey? Like, and you don't need anything else really but salt and pepper, because the flavour of the meat is so good. Okay, now I am going to, I will just move this here just so you can see what I'm actually going to do. So, here's my very expensive cooker. The fry pan's dearer than it. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in there, and we want to get these, move the oil around a little bit to fit. Now if you're in a restaurant, you make these look really pretty. We're not, but I'll show you when we start to cook them. So we want to get these, render the fat a bit of these so that the juice and stuff comes out. Not the juice, the fat comes out a bit, because you know, it's not the nicest fat to eat. However, it is pretty tasty. You don't want big chunks of it. So, I'm only just going to do this just to show you the sort of colouring that we want on it. Turn one, turn on, turn another one. It's getting hot already. So on our jus, I've got some rosemary out of my garden, just 2 little stalks of it. Then I haven't got any beef stock at the moment. That's my job this weekend, is to cook up a heap of beef stock. So I'm just using this little mama here. This is probably Craig's good wine, but that's okay. Like Hannah once made spaghetti bolognese with Craig's like vintage St. Hugo. Not the happiest person, but anyway, it was really nice spaghetti. So I'm leaving that a little bit blonde. But I've got the oven pretty warm. Give me a love heart if you love rack of lamb. Rack of lamb is one of my favourites, and those nice little bones to eat off as well. So as this is browning, my ingredients for my salad. I've got some Lebanese cucumbers, doesn't matter what type of cucumber, an avocado. I have some little tomatoes out of my garden. Got some parsley and some basil, red onions. So my tomatoes are yellow and red. I've got a little goat cheese, some pitted Kalamata olives, organic apple cider vinegar, olive oil, and then some cos lettuce. So I like doing all my salads on a platter, not as much in a bowl. Like the cauliflower salad, yeah, I like that in a bowl, but all my other ones I sort of make in a platter. So you also want to get all the sides. Use the side of the fry pan to help you out here if you need to stand these up. When you seal meat, the flavour stays on the inside. Okay? So when you're cooking a steak, and I'm going to teach you how to cook steaks as well. When you seal meat on the outside, all the flavour stays on the inside of the steak, which is what we want with the rack of lamb and when we're cooking a steak and stuff. If you're making a stew, there's no real need to brown it as much and make sure all the sides are done, because you want the flavour to come out of the meat into the stew as well. So, and like with stew, it's always great to have the meat with the bones as well, but like it's a different sort of process. Yes, we do brown it to get a bit of colour and flavour, but it doesn't have to be sealed like this. So like look at that on the edge there where browning it all the way over. And the care that you take with this now is going to pay off later on when you're eating it. Now I'm just upping my oven. I just upped it up to 220 just so that my roast veggies get a bit of colour. Now see how that's a bit blonde on the front there? It hasn't really rendered the fat. We're going to put that back down. And I'm going to lean it up against the edge there to really get that happening. Oh yeah, I'm going to get another tray again. I'm just going to lean them on top of each other just to get the top bit a bit browner. Rightio. So then these in a tray, just like that. See, real simple. I'm just going to put them in the oven. Now, if you have a 900 oven, put them both on the top shelf there so they get nice and brown. If you have a 600, if they'll fit on in a one tray, in a bigger, do that. Save on dishes. Otherwise, put the veggies up on the top to start with and then move them down afterwards. So I'm just going to put that aside there because we're going to use that fry pan to make the sauce. But we'll get our salad done. So I'm just flipping the board, right? So lazy chef, yes. Why make life hard? So I'm going to... Now I can use the same bowl that I just had the veggies in. My husband reckons I use lots of dishes. Anyway, I beg to differ. Sometimes I do. So, I love salads, and I love fresh salads and easy ones that you can just whip up when you've just got simple things in the fridge and you don't have much time to cook dinner, or like it's date night or something and you want to be able to sit down and just maybe cook a piece of meat on the barbie, and then this will just be in there and it's just nice and fresh. So just break up your red onion. This is where I need a camera crew. I need Ryan. We were his camera crew on the weekend. So break that up a bit. Now, cucumbers, just top and tail, down the middle, and then quarter. And then if you want to, like you can go a little bit fancy and just cut them on an angle. Put them in. I love cucumbers, so I will always put more in than anything else because I love the crunch. And you can add celery to this if you wanted to. Then I've got just parsley and basil, nothing flash. I need to stick that there, there you go. Then with my little tomatoes, they haven't got the little stalk off them. I didn't check if I had more today. Anyhow. Now I like it when you cut tomatoes like this so that you're cutting them like you would a sliced tomato, so you actually see the seeds rather than if you cut it sideways, like it's just like old school, like you're about to cut wedges. Cut it the other way, so just a bit different. Cut it on an angle and then you get a different way altogether. Just play around with cutting things differently. Change the old way of doing things. You could even cut them into quarters, that would be fine. Avocado. Our avocados are not the best at the moment, anyway, but do with what you can. And the family probably used all my good ones that I got my sister to buy yesterday for this with their lunches today. Anyhow, it's got to do the best you can with what you've got. This one's got a few rocks in it, a few stones through it. See where they've been? Like they've got those little rock bits there. They're not fun to eat. Okay. Chop Pop them in there. Olives. I just get the ones already with the pits out. Slice them on a diagonal too, makes them look a bit differently rather than just slice circles. Or you can even slice them in quarters that way so that you just get a different way of doing it. It's okay to play with your food. Then my little goat's cheese. Might just leave him until I toss this because I left it out a bit too long and it's gone a little bit soft. So, apple cider, plenty. Might have been maybe a tablespoon and a half. Salt and pepper. Bit of olive oil. Give it a bit of a toss. Like that. Then what we'll do is get a little paper towel. And just grab some cos lettuce. All I've done here is just cut the ends off and washed it. Then I would put that in a tub, paper towel on the bottom, and paper towel on the top, and pop it in the fridge. We didn't get home until 4 o'clock on Sunday, so we didn't do the shopping, so I just sent my sister yesterday to help me out. So that's plenty. Put on a nice little serving platter. Then we'll just spoon this over the top. Normally you could just put the goat's cheese in this, or you could have marinated feta if that's what you like. I just really love the tang of this goat's cheese, so make sure you make it so it looks pretty. Then we just get a bit of this. I'll just use this fork to break it out and get it out of that little packet. And then just crumble a bit over the top. Look at that. And if I wasn't on a TV show or on YouTube, I'd be licking my fingers. So you could just glad wrap that, pop that in the oven. There's a nice salad for tonight. Goes beautifully with Eureka lamb. Then we'll make the jus. So I've got the kettle on boiling. Now this is our fry pan and it's got heaps of fat in it, which we're not going to use. So we'll just tip the fat into a cup. You don't have to put all of it in there, okay? So what we're going to do then, and I'll bring this over when we get to it, is just cut up some onion. Put that in the pan. Some garlic. And we're not going to eat this, so you don't have to peel it or anything, just chop it up. And then same with the rosemary. I'll just put that in there. So we are just going to put this in here. Try not to chuck too much of it on the floor. I'm going to get out a jug. Now, if you've never used these before, this is what they look like. They're just sort of, it's dehydrated stock. That's the best way that I can say it. So I'm going to put like a spoon that big in my jug. And because I've just boiled my kettle, I'm just going to put some hot water in there. So, just that much, which is what, a cup. Not that much really. So we'll just get this cooking away, just to get a bit of the flavour out of it. I'll pick up my rubbish off the floor and put it in my little junk bowl there. What have we got here, Craigie? A cat amongst the pigeons. He really liked this one. So he's really going to like dinner. Anyway. You need to put a bit in, just for flavour. Can't put too much in because you'll notice. So just let that reduce a bit. Then we're going to put in some honey. And then we're going to put our beef stock in that we just made. And then we're going to let it reduce down. You know, this beef stock isn't that salty. Some of them are really salty. So just be careful there. So just let that do its job there. And move all this out the way, ready for our ice cream. Who loves banana ice cream? One of my, I'm a custard girl, so ice cream is pretty much custard, just frozen. So if it's custard, like I love vanilla slice, I love custard tarts, I love baked custard. Like one of the fondest memories that I have that Wild Fit reminded me of was fighting with my stepdad over a baked, like a baking dish of egg custard. And it was just delicious, and we were just eating it together. You know, it felt love. Like, it just felt like love. There was some chaos going on in our house and in our family, and welfare was involved and stuff. And in all of that, we ate this baked custard and I felt loved, and I felt like nothing was going to pieces. So there's my little thing for that. Not the funnest thing to go through, but anyway. Now, this is not coconut oil, this is my honey. I buy my honey from a man here in town, and I get like 10 kilos at a time because the family was making me there for a little while with it. Anyway, you don't need that much. So like that's just a flat dessert spoon, which will not be a dessert spoon. It was probably, it's only a small spoon. Maybe half a tablespoon of honey. You don't need that much. Put that in. Then we're going to just put our beef stock. Now, not all of it. Because if you put all of it, it takes forever for it to reduce down. But if we just do bits at a time, then we can judge how it's going and just keep adding bits. So I just want to taste it. Oh, yum. I think I told you about honey, hey? If you want to do away with any cold and flu symptoms and stuff like that, honey and onion. But if you get the honey that's within a kilometre of the town that you live in, sort of thing, at least you know that it's good. Now, I do need a little bit more honey in that. So all up, that was probably 3/4 of a tablespoon of honey. Now, this is a really good date night meal. If you've got 10 kids, probably not the best thing to cook because it's not the cheapest thing. Like these racks of lamb cost me $80. So this is a special thing. Right, so all of that is going well over there. So I'm just going to move this over here on the bench and I'll show you as it's finished. But like, look at that, it's starting to thicken up. So then we'll add a bit more of this. Just let it keep cooking down, we'll just keep adding. Then we'll make the ice cream. And by the time this is all done, like this is going to be like a 2-course meal in like 45 minutes. Ice cream, the whole lot. You can impress anybody. So, the only thing that you needed to do before we make ice cream was freeze some bananas. This is my Thermi. Janet, I'm pretty sure you made me this. My little Thermomix cover. Might be asking you for a blue one soon, light blue. Anyhow, if you don't have a Thermomix, this is what a Thermomix looks like. So what I have got is cinnamon. Now I do normally have maple syrup too. But I did just find some in the fridge. I mean, in the cupboard, that had gone mouldy. So that tells you that it's actual real. It's not pretend stuff. If you're going to have maple syrup, make sure it's the real deal, not the flavoured syrup, because that's just full of sugar and artificial stuff. So I've just put the end of the jug in that saucepan, or in that fry pan. And last week I froze up 4 bananas. So we're just going to put them straight into the Thermomix. Oh, it's all going along really nicely. And we might put some cinnamon in there too. One of the things that's really nice is cinnamon is sweet. So I'm just putting a 1/3 of a teaspoon in there. Cinnamon is a sweet spice. It may not taste sweet at this stage of the game. Eventually it will, and you'll love it. So, it's going to be noisy. Anyway, let's go. Now, this is why Thermis are good. When that finishes, I'll show you this. Just looks like breadcrumbs. See? Now, it's frozen, right? Now, this is the trick. We get a good quality egg, and we get the egg white. Now, if you had maple syrup and you like maple syrup and you're a bit of a sweet tooth, I don't need it in my ice cream anymore. You could put it in there now. If you like honey, put honey in there. Bananas and honey goes good. You know, you could even put some nut butter or something in there, hey, like peanut butter and banana. Oh my God. So now all I'm going to do is chuck an egg white. So just tip that in there. I'll leave that egg yolk over there. Then I'll mix this up loud again. And another egg white. So 4 bananas, looks like it takes 2 egg whites for this. And I get a little scraper. Oh yeah. This up a moment. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. It's just got a bit of a thing there. Oh, yum. This is so good. You know, you could nearly have this for breakfast, but it's got egg white in it. But you could nearly have it for breakfast. In the freezer to freeze this in. I do have ice cream containers, which I think Craig said they cracked. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. Ice cream, hey? So you just scoop this out. It's like gelato consistency. And the other thing too you can think about, like, is if you like people to cook for you and restaurant quality every day, every night, you should come to the retreat down in South Australia. We have got this beautiful beach house. It's on a cliff. It's got a beautiful fireplace. It's got, like, every bedroom has its own ensuite. It's just beautiful. Anyway, we're going there in November. So if that's something that you're thinking about, get in now and get that done, because we've already got sales for it. So now I'll show you what it looks like with a spoon. You can roll this, like you can make it like ice cream. So look at that. Play around with it, do whatever. Now I just want to taste it, make sure it tastes okay. It is so much just like the consistency of ice cream. So you put that in the freezer. Imagine that in a bowl. Chop some nuts on there. I love activated pecans and almonds. Chop some of them up. Drizzle with maple syrup on top. Yum, yum. Right, I'll just pack this up and then we'd be ready to plate up. So, as you is just about ready. Okay, I turned it off just before, so it didn't lose the cooking of it. Okay, so we're just gonna thicken that up just the last little bit. We're not using any flour, no anything. the veggies are just about done. So, better be careful of all my charges there. That's my fat bowl. So, better hide Craig's wine so he doesn't think I drank any of it or used any of it. And it is all at the top. Who doesn't have one of these in their kitchen, eh? The nice little pretty jug. Let's just make sure it tastes yummy enough for date night. Oh, that's delicious. Alright, so that's done. See how it's just starting to get bigger bubbles in it? That is ready. So, and it'll thicken up a bit too because of the honey in it. I'll just get a fork just so I don't tip all the onion and stuff in there. And all of that's really yum too. So it only makes a little bit, but you don't need that much. And I made a mess. Now, depending on how you like your lamb, we like our meat medium rare in our house. So for me, they would be just about cooked. And have a look at that. You can even hear it, hey? So they're pretty, you can always feel the ends, they're pretty firm. So these would be medium to medium rare. And I don't know how long they've been in there, so that was a bit naughty, hey? But let them rest for at least 5 or 6 minutes before you plate them up. Then the meat's got a chance to relax, the juices actually stay in, and when you cut your meat, it's not just all over the plate, it's actually nice and juicy meat. So how I would serve these was, if you're going to serve them individually, I'd put a spoonful or so of jus, put a lamb on top, some veggies there, serve the salad in the middle of the table. Beautiful. I'll show you the veg. So if you like potato and stuff like that, you could put potato in this and stuff too. You could even sprinkle some rosemary on it as it was cooking. It's pretty simple. We did all of this in just over half an hour, however long this live's been going for. Just over half an hour, I reckon. And how simple is that, really? So, cooking's easy, hey? And cooking yummy stuff without having to go out for tea as much, or, I don't know, have all the added extras like the packets of sauce and all of that. Just a few good staples in your cupboard and a good butcher, all you need. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I will write all the ingredients down and do my best with the measurements for the cookbook. Anyhow, I'll send a picture once I've plated it all up so you can see what it looks like. All right, love you guys. See ya, bye.